Hey there, Hollywood Hills fans, and welcome to another show. Now, this week, it's a benchmark show. For us here at Hollywood Hills and LiveX, this is our first time bringing you one of the rounds of the National Championship. And because we have a great association with the GXCCs, you know we've been bringing you all that coverage for the last 3 seasons. Now this year, because of Mastercar's VW Hatfield, that's Big Chris Hobser coming on board, we are able to now film, because of GXCC running round 4 of the championship out at Zorgfliet, a full production from this event. So this show will be picking up all of the 3 junior categories and all the national championship classes that raced out at Zorgfliet. This is National Championship Racing. Back on your box. Enjoy. All this Trademark Group National Cross Country Racing action is brought to you by GXCC in association with VW Mastercar's Hatfield. The Zorgfliet farm just outside the back door of Bronkhorstspruit, right smack bang in the middle of a Gauteng winter, and everyone is getting ready to go National Championship Racing. This is a really cool event. It's a historic racing venue. 2019 hosted a doubleheader round to wrap things up, and everyone came back saying this was cool racing, but super duper tough. The morning session is going to be for the juniors. Not such a gnarly track for them this time. It's going to be a little bit twisty, a little bit of flatland. Vian tells us about it.
Yeah, good morning. So we're out here at Zorgfliet Farm, just outside Bronkhorstspruit. We raced here in 2019. Myself, I enjoyed that race, 2019 GXCC, and then 2 weeks later we had the National. 2 days back to back. We were finished because this terrain is sandy, it gets hooped out. So yeah, the guys are going to have their work cut out after 6 laps today. We're going to start off the day with the juniors. They're going to start at 7:30. They've got a 23-kilometer loop that they're going out on. Guessing that the fast guys will probably do it at about 22 minutes, round about there.
For the juniors coming into this, everyone is chasing down championship points, and no one wants to give anything away. Clarkey was going to be the rider leading things out. He'd be opening up the track. Remember, no time trial from the juniors, so they would just be going straight out into virgin terrain, trying to see what they can do. Dust was definitely going to be a factor on the day, but what was more of a factor in the early part of the running for all the juniors going out were the cold conditions. Many juniors going and double gloving, and some of them still racing in their overnight jerseys, hoodies and rain jackets. It was Brandon Clark that led things out ahead of Bruno Niebuhr. Murray Smith and AJ Lowe had made the big trip up from KZN, and they were looking to see what they could do against the might of the Gauteng riders. Hanyu de Kock, Jaden Els, Jaden Boyce, Nate Dog Sinclair was out there on the gas, and everyone was going to see what they could do. Remember, historically the juniors only go out and do, at the very most, a 15, maybe 17 kilometer loop at club and regional level, but out here they were going desperately close to a 24 kilometer loop. Fuel strategy, goggle strategy, food strategy, everything was going to be about strategy on the day to see what they could do, about getting out there and having a clean run of things. So it was the 65 national runners, the 85 national runners, and a couple of clubbies going out there to see what they could do in Zorgfliet. Vian takes us through the breakdown of this gnarly track for the kids.
So on the junior track, it's, as I mentioned, 23.3 kilometers in length. And yeah, it's a little bit longer than what the juniors are normally used to at a GXCC, but this is a national, so a little bit more distance. Obviously the dads are going to have to keep an eye out for the fuel. I think it'll be on the 65s and so on, it'll be a bit of a risk to go out for 2 laps on one tank, so they're going to have to keep an eye on that. And then yeah, on their track, they don't have as much thick sand to deal with. There's one section, long straight, that they do have sand, but that's going to be fine for them. It's only in the afternoon when the big boys go out when it's going to start chewing up. So yeah, for them, a lot of twists and turns, and also a couple of fast straights, but they're going to have a lot of fun out there, especially also in the tree section. They're going to enjoy the day out there.
So let's go out and climb that ladder. The 65cc runners, remember, she has made a name for herself racing on the GXCC Tour, running a ton of top fives. Caitlin Pretorius now at her first national ever race runs into a number 7. She's going to be the future of ladies racing. Wilco Deploy, historically a 50cc racer, but at certain events he does dust off the Yami 65, and he had a good run of things, riding out of Ruban Racing, walking away with a number 6 finish this time around. But the pace was high, and some of the bigger, stronger kids started to come good. Liam Skippers, riding out of that incredible Sleepover, Torcroft and Honda squad, has found his groove out here in 2022, and he gets himself up there for number 5, chasing onto the back wheel of Matty Mayer. Mayer, consistently a top runner on the 65s. Even though he's been flirting with 85 racing this year, he had one of his best national results out here at Zorgfliet, rocking his way to a number 4. Up the road, one of the kids that is tough to beat in the 2022 Tour, that is GJ Kutsia. Very strong. The kid is feeling full of confidence as he tries to nail down his highest ever national finish, but he is looking for a GXCC title this season. Jake the Snake Pretorius, the kid that is coming out in the 65s, racing out of Pepsi Plastics on the Cower. He took the previous round win. He had to settle for a number 2 spot this time, but he's looking good for the title chase still with 2 rounds to go. So who was on top in the 65s? Out of Ruban Racing, Bernard Kleinhams takes his highest and first ever national championship win. This was a high-speed track. He got a gearing right, he got the strategy right, and he takes his first national win. An incredible ride for the Ruban Racing Junior, the kid who's looking to nail down some big titles for the rest of this season. With the 65s out the way, we climb the ladder into the 85s. Chris Jr. Harmser gets the job done in a number 4. This is Chris's first ever national race. 4th place for him. Ruan Opperman was up the road, racing out of the clubs, and these are the guys that don't have the national licenses to go out there, so they were just getting in a little bit of extra training, a little bit of practice. Opperman in a 3 spot. Hannes de Beer up the road on the J121 takes a 2nd place ride. These kids had nothing but cool vibes. They said this was really good training. There's a huge gap in between the winter months for the GXCCs, so they needed to get out there and stay loose. Corbin Muller, who is a GXCC would-be champion as well, he's looking good in the junior 85s on that tour. This time around, he wanted to get the mileage in, and he gets up on the 444 Motorsport Racing Husqvarna to the very top step this time around. That's going to make him super confident going forward into the rest of the club championship. And on the national 85s, a lot of key riders, but the majority of them coming out of the Gauteng region. We break down the runners inside of the top 8, where we saw Willem van Schalkwyk get it up there into a number 8. Jean-Andre Vermaak, once again, another rider out of that incredible Franchise Co. CIT Racing Kawasaki squad. One of the bigger dudes on the 85s, desperate to make the move into 125s, but I think he's still on the little bikes for another season. 7th place for him. Lohan Leroux, also a rider who, as he's got taller, has got a lot stronger this season, and he seems to have found that big confidence. 6th place for him at his first national. He'll be super happy with that. He did have a run out at one of the previous nationals, but now he seems to have found his groove. A former 65cc champion also riding out of the powerhouse squad, Jaden Els, gets the money going for the Franchise Co. guys, and he gets himself up into a number 5 spot. AJ Lowe making the trip out of KZN, and historically the KZN kids don't like the high-speed flatland, and they certainly don't like the dust, but AJ Lowe, on a rough day for him, gets points on the plate for 4th place. That keeps him in the championship running. First out the gate, lost a lot of time on lap number 1 trying to find the loop, and the championship leader Brandon Clark drops down to a 3rd place. That, incredibly enough, 3rd is his lowest finish on the season so far, so the championship has now come to life as we head to the final 2 rounds. Murray Smith in the number 2 spot. He is a rider on the up and up. He's got a lot of heritage. It's a racing family coming out of KZN, and he has definitely been putting in the flatland racing practice. This is one of his standout rides for sure. And then for Ruban Racing, Bruno Niebuhr. Incredible to see this guy come good. It's only his first season racing on the 85s, and this is his first time out hitting the very top step at this amazing event. Zorgfliet just had everything on the box for Bruno and Ruban Racing on the top step. Bruno's going to leap up in the championship standings now. Let's break it down on the day. So Bruno Niebuhr on the top step confirmed his win ahead of Smith and Clarkey. AJ Lowe, Els, Leroux, Vermaak and Van Schalkwyk. But Niebuhr on the top step, that's going to change things up big time as we go forward for the final 2 rounds of the series. In the 85 clubs, not a big entry, but good pace as well, and a lot of these guys would have seen themselves inside of the top 10 overall. Muller beats out on De Beer, Opperman, and Chris Homser Jr., running out a 4th place finish. And we pick up on the 65s, where for Rubine Racing, once again, Werner Kleinhams beats out Jake the Snake into a 2-spot. GJ in 3rd, Mayer, Skippers, Deploy, and Pretorius. That was your junior event in the morning session. Then we started to get ourselves ready to focus on the big show. But the juniors love being part of the National Championship Tour. It is all aspirational. They've got a lot of support down there in the pits. Now we get ready for the big show. All the National Championship competitors. The qualifier was done. Now it's time to go racing. The afternoon event was going to be a big one as well. A huge track. Everyone knew it was going to be Dust Bowl racing, but it was the severity of the track that everyone was worried about. Historically, this whoops out, chops up, and it gets harder as the day gets longer. Championship was on everyone's mind, and everyone was chasing down on Brett Swanepoel, the overall championship points leader and the leader in the OR2 class as well. Everyone was here to see what they could do. We went down in the pits to chat to some of the king riders to see what they had in mind.
It's been a bit of a tough start to the season for me. We've had the first few races haven't been smooth sailing, but I should have all my ducks in a row. I've been training hard, and the teams that made a lot of changes, and everything's lining up. So I'm hoping for not a good result, a win here today. We'll see.
Yeah, no, it's good. Good to be back racing, and we've had a little bit of a break. I've been fortunate enough I could go overseas for a bit of stuff with the rally. So no, coming in prepared and feeling good. I mean, obviously missing around was not ideal, but it is what it is, and that's the sport with the injuries. But no, being good. I mean, Freiburg was perfect. Take the win there, and I just want to carry that momentum into here. I like this place.
Looking good at the moment. I'm currently in front of Round4. I'm not too sure about how many points, but close still, and it's going to be a good race to the end to get the championship.
Yeah, feeling really good. Feel like I've done the right amount of work. Changed 1-2 things on the bike. We're always progressing, especially the team. They're putting in a lot of work. So yeah, we're just really excited. For sure, everyone's going to be gunning for me because I'm leading the championship. But we're ready for it, and we take that pressure and turn it into something good and just work really hard and keep the gas open today.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still learning. I think every race I do, I learn a little bit more, figure something out a little bit, and not that I said it's easy or anything, but it is a little bit more. I understand it a little bit more. Obviously, I think I'm still a bit behind the top guys. I've got lucky once or twice here and then, been out front and been able to kind of have everyone else suck my dust for a couple laps. I've been lucky. But I'm still learning. Each race I go to is kind of brand new. So it's looking forward to today. It should be good.
The nationals this year have been tech. It's new for me on the 250, but we're getting there. I've been training lots of tech, and we're getting there. This is going to be a faster round. I'm looking forward to that, and see if we can get this year going well and then lead that into next year for the championship.
Yeah, this the last 2 years I retired. I've got other commitments, so yeah, and also a few injuries. So now this year was just purely for fun. Ian Pepper asked me if I would come race for him, and it would just purely be fun and family orientated, which it has been. Pretty much sad that Wade's not here. We had the first 3 rounds we were battling quite a bit. And then today sadly that he's not here, so I'm just going to pretty much go out there and have fun like I have been all year and just give it my best and enjoy myself.
Yeah, this year with all the injuries and everything, I'm just basically participating. We're not really racing, we're going out there riding, supporting the Masters class, to try to get the numbers for the championship at the end of the year, because we have to have a certain amount of entries. But with the aches and pains and everything that's happened, I'm just happy to be on a bike still. But so we'll just circulate and have fun, and that's what it's about. The older we get, we feel the injuries a little bit more. But to just be on a bike and enjoy it, that's the big thing.
All in all, it's okay. I'm in the championship lead, regardless, and let's go out there today and give it a crack. Thanks to all the sponsors and everyone that backs me and supports me, and the fans, the kids, everyone on the sideline. It's awesome to see everyone supporting. So let's see what we can do today.
Yeah, again, also never been here. Most of the cross-country races that I go to, it's all virgin for me. I've never really done it. We actually do practice just up the road here at the Bronx, so I guess kind of the terrain must be similar. I think it's a couple k's up the road, but also I've heard that it's soft and sandy in some sections, so yeah, virgin terrain, but like I say, each race for me is virgin terrain, so it's becoming a normal thing.
Well, we figured the bike out. It's going well. Yeah, can't complain. Bike's fast. I'm fit. It's going to be lekker.
For what I can see, it seems fairly fast, but we never really know what we're getting till we're out there. Hey? So I'm hoping it's a mixture of both. Not too fast, not too slow. Typical, off-road racing. And if that's the case, it should really be a great day.
Yeah, 2019 was really good for me. I obviously wrapped up my first off-road championship here on the 250, so a bit better now. I'm on the 450, a bit more horses under me, but looking good. Team's obviously going to have the bike running sweet, so yeah, good day.
Yeah, back in 2019 I raced on the 125. Yeah, this track, I think you can make it a good 250 track if you ride it properly, but you can make life difficult here, because I remember back in 2019 it gets very rough and it's going to be a long day.
Yeah, I was just saying to Matthew Wilson, I said, hey, today's your day, buddy. I got second overall here on a 250 in 19 to Lawrence, so yeah, I think obviously the big bikes with the long straights that's where you capitalize on a big bike. But no, if we go into the forest at the back there, it's tight and twisty for a good couple Ks. And time trial is super important now. I think everyone can see that it's where you are in the time trials, kind of where you're going to be. So yeah, obviously now this morning we'll go out and make that count.
Unfortunately, I didn't race this race the last time it was here, so I'm literally coming in here blind. But fortunately, the FX350 for me is the most versatile bike. You literally got the best of both worlds between a 250 and a 450, so I think no matter what the track throws us, we'll be ready for it.
Last time I was here, I was on the 125 in 2019, I think. Yeah, the 250 is going to be lekker. It's a lot faster, and I think it suits the 250.
Yeah, I think today is going to be more of a big bike track. I think it's top end today, so I think today's going to be a faster track. But what I can say is the track will deteriorate, it will get rougher, so I think the smaller bikes will then catch up later on in the day. So I think today's going to play in the hands of the fitter guys, and then I think at the beginning the big bikes might pull away, and then later on in the day the small bikes might catch up. But also the dust will be another factor as well.
Yeah, listen, 2019 killed us. It was a double header. Remember, we raced Friday and Saturday, and I had to win both days to win the championship, and I did it. But your body was dead. This place, I wouldn't say it's a big bike, and I wouldn't say it's ideally suited to any bike actually, because you got some nice sections, you got twisty sections that suits the 300, faster for the big bike. So yeah, dude, it's all on the day how the track chews up, and we have to take it as it comes. But it is a hectic ride.
Yeah, so that's the 2023 KTM, the all-new bike, the XC and motocross editions for the year. I won't be on it this round, but rounds to come, hopefully.
To be honest with you, I quite like the slow pits. I'm not a big fan. Not that I'm not a big fan of the light pits. I just find with the normal slow pits you can at least get something to eat and have a drink while you zigzagging through the maze. So, but this is really cool. My wife and the team and everyone really enjoy this because it's a bit of an adrenaline rush every time the guys come through there. So, but yeah, if I had my way, I think I'd go with the slow pits, to be honest.
Yeah, life pits are pretty cool. Hey, it's you have to be careful, and obviously everyone has to be vigilant in what you have to respect the guys going fast. But yeah, the life pits are cool. You'll hear the guys coming past now. But yeah, it's a nice aspect, I think, to the sport.
Awesome rider reactions. Everyone knows what they're in for. They know they're going to enjoy the first couple of laps. They might not enjoy those final two. Zorgfliet coming at you, coming to get you. The wonderful thing about the Trademore Group National Championship Tour is the format. It's the time trial that sets the scene for the rest of the day. And this active pit is really something special. Vion takes the guys through the track, what to watch out for on the 51.2 kilometers, and how the day is going to be running. The active pit lane was going to be busy because with a 51.2 kilometer lap, most riders would be going for the splash and dash format. Very few riders would risk it for the biscuit to go 2 laps in a row without a refuel. For the morning session on the time trial, Mike Doherty, who had been brought in from the desert to race on the Husqvarna SA Factory Squad motocross side of the team, now pulled in for a bit of cross-country racing action. He pulled the pin and got the whole shot, which meant he was going to be able to make hay on laps 1 and 2 to stay ahead of the chasing pack, made up of Kieran Fitzgerald, who is aching for his first ever national championship win, the multiple motocross champion. Then Brett Swanepoel, the overall title holder on the 111 Husqvarna, would be chasing down into dust. So remember, watch for the dust. That is going to be the story of the day. Gareth Cole, Scotty Haygate, Maddie Wilson in close attendance, sucking dust straight out of the gate. Remember, they were going to be out there for almost 4 hours of racing. Refuels would be so important for all these guys, but it looked like it was going to be a big bike, horsepower track to see what they could do. The reigning OR1 champ, Magic Mike, Pentecost, and Brad Cox went out the gate together, chased down by the rest of the chasing pack. But it was a horsepower track. It was definitely going to be wide open.
Okay, so for the afternoon, for the big loop, it's 51.2 kilometers in length. So it's a nice good distance, but there are a lot of faster sections. So the guys will probably get top speed in those sections, but we bring their speed right down into the grasslands, lots of twists and turns. There's a beautiful forest section that we're going to put them into. Dust is going to be a factor today. So yeah, as much as we think it's sandy soil, there are sections where it's just going to put a lot of dust in there, and in between the trees I can only imagine that it's going to be hanging there. So the guys are going to have to be awake and check and make sure that they don't get caught out in the dust.
Doherty, big high fives out there, and for now, clear air. But at the end of lap number 1 and definitely into lap number 2, he would come into lap traffic and he would be sucking dust as well. Fitzgerald did a good job in the early laps, and this was the first time we saw the leaders come in. Magic Mike going for the splash and dash scenario. Same situation for Gareth Cole. These guys are running high in the title chase as well, so they cannot make mistakes at this round with just 2 rounds to go after this. Maddie Wilson trying to do what he can on the 250. That looks like Hayden Lowe as well. He's been picked up by the Sleepover and Talkcraft Honda squad. JC Nienober charging, and Taki Bodgiodges gives the green light. He's going to go long, so that's a big gamble on the high revving 250s, but he is running in incredible form. He knows this track well at this farm that nearly took his racing career away from him. Let's go out on the track and do the countdown. Let's climb those ladders. Picking up on the high scores, these are the 125 racers. Derek Karam, who has come off an incredible national championship win at the previous round out there in the Northwest, but this time around just could not find the groove, had some issues, drops down to 6th place. That's going to hurt him in the national championship title chase. Josh Alexander couldn't benefit from his whole shot skills this time around, so he had to just fight hard through the race, through the dust, and through the whooped out track of Zorgfliet to bring his Bikers Warehouse Husqvarna ride down to a number 5 spot. He did get 1 position ahead of Karam on the MCA ride, so that's going to see him start to maybe tickle his way up into the top 4 for the title chase. The Italians came up, not in force, but the guys that are chasing down title hopes and running inside the top 5 said, we're going to make the trip. Nathan Westerdale got himself up there into a number 4 spot, surprised many and himself, no doubt, by getting himself up high enough to challenge, with Ross Ramsayer getting up into a 3rd place. Ramsayer was a bit of a revelation in the early part of the season. Maybe we all thought he was just going to be good at the tech, but he seems to be good at the high-speed stuff as well. So that's good running from the KZN kids. The tallest dude out there racing in the high scores, coming back a category. Last year and the year before, he was racing in the 250s. He comes back into the high scores, but he can still qualify for that. The 122 and riding out of franchise co CIT Kawasaki. It's all about Bjorn Wenzel on the 122, trying desperately to stay in that championship points lead. But at round number 4, it was all about Baby Bester. In his first season racing on the 125s, out of running around about 3 seasons on the 85s, Kobus Bester gets the job done and gets the big win at round number 4. This is going to be seeing the high school title points chase blow wide open as Bester hits the top step for the first time on a track that really suited his riding style. For the Masters, we saw quite a lot of guys come out of nowhere, and that's what's cool when we go racing in Gauteng. A lot of the guys that don't historically travel to the Nationals say, well, it's on my doorstep, I'm going to pull in. Bert Smith from Bert Smith Racing came out there on the 804 and got it done into a number 7. One of the most consistent riders was just above and ahead of him, riding out of Spherical Logistics on the Husqvarna. That was all about Francois Swanepoel. Didn't necessarily enjoy his day out there, but tagged a ton of points. The guy that's running off the front at the moment for the national title chase is Greg Nan. Now, like with a couple of high school races, we thought he was just a techie, but he has got good, he's changed machinery, he's got onto a bigger bike, and he is running out there with a number 5. His sparring partner for the title chase should be Wayne Farmer, but Wayne is still carrying a ton of injuries. He's got injuries to his hip, injuries to his back, and the old war dog is just out there trying to tag some points. 4th place for him meant it was going to be a tough visit to the physio on Monday, but he was still going to get those points in the bag. This is the Viking, Kurbis Jonk, up into 3rd place, riding for Bert Smith Racing, and the guy, probably the only guy apart from Chris Harmser, that can make a 500cc bike look like a 125. The big guy swung his axe and got himself up there to a 3rd place. That's his best finish in a national to date since he came back full-time racing with us. The big swingers out front, this has been a bit of a story, came back GXCC and now has come back full-time national championship racing. Mealy's LaRue. Carl, it says on his ID book, but we all know him as Mealy's, getting the job done out there. Old school, classic, wild style racer, looked after by Alfie Cox Racing, soon to be Brad Cox Racing, I'm sure. Mealy's gets it done for a number 2 spot, and then one of the pickups in the mid-season, Harry Krobler makes the magical phone call, as he has done with a couple of other riders, to Warwick van Skalkwyk, gets him off the orange bike, gets him onto a green machine, and all of a sudden, riding out of franchise CIT Kawasaki, Warwick van Skalkwyk hits the top step at the National. That's his first national win in many seasons. For the seniors, we saw a good dice and good pace coming out of Ronnie Fenter in the early part of the race, but problems on the day saw him retire.
I think if you keep going straight out and use the road there, you hook the left.
Checking with the camera crew how to get back to the pits. He had a big off and a big problem on his machine and would drop down to a number 6 finish eventually. Alain Dutoy, riding out of Moto Cartel, Liat and Bikers Warehouse, is starting to build in confidence. Great at the GXCCs, looks like he's on for a top 3 in that championship chase, and now running a top 5 in the seniors. It's been a bit of a come up and come good season for Dutoy. Up the road, a rider we don't often talk about, Ockert Swart, gets himself up into a number 4 spot. One of these guys that just found the right setup, the right track, and the right head on his shoulders. Had about 4 cups of coffee and got good. 4th place sees him walk home with his highest ever national championship finish. He'll be super happy with that one. The guys in the top 3 have been the guys running top 3s the whole season long. Love that V-dub light on the front end of the big 500. Yanni Potgieter at the beginning of the season deciding to go big 500 racing. He's a small dude, but he's strong. Does a lot of CrossFit and can hang on to the machine. Riding out of VW Mastercars Hatfield, Yanni Potgieter, as always, dicing things out with the madman Marco Cocci. But this time around, Cocci getting the upper hand. Yanni Potgieter, though, in 3rd, does hang on to some good points and some good numbers. Cocci dicing elbows out with Peter Karam there. Obviously, they're in different categories and different races. And Cocci wheeled out the big Yamaha Shimwells Racing 450. Diced it out with Potgieter in the early stages and then started to pull the pin towards the end of the race. The madman Marco Cocci, 2nd place and happy with that. That'll cement his position running 2 spot in the national title chase. Then King Kenny Gilbert, what can you say about this guy that hasn't already been said? He's able to run off the front and put the big herds and massive time into the rest of the senior field. Not only that, he consistently runs inside of the top 10 when you measure him against the rest of the factory pro racers. Still carrying a bit of a bent chicken wing. He's got a bit of plastic in his elbow to hold him together. But Kenny still bringing it home, and he has gone undefeated on the season so far for the seniors. In the OR3s, the top lady at the moment, Leah Haygate, measuring herself against the men. Remember, for the Nationals, we do not have a ladies category, so she's out there in the OR3s, racing on the Sleepover Torquecraft Factory Racing Honda Squad, pulling some big time out of some very fast dudes. Leah walking away with a number 8 finish on the day. Hayden Cole just did not have the day that he wanted. He's been running inside the top 5 for the OR3 250 Screamers the whole way through the season, and the kid out of KZN, as well as his brother, same situation. They just did not find the setup that they wanted on their machines. The track was a little bit too open, too wild, and they didn't get the results. He drops down to a number 7. Peter Karam, after coming off the big win just a couple of months back out there in the Northwest, he drops down to a number 6, and you'd be surprised to hear that as well. This is very similar terrain to Freiburg, but Karim didn't get the good gate he wanted on the time trial. That sees him drop down, sucking dust early on, down to a number 6. Brendan Swanepoel, up the road from him, would have also hurt Peter Karim, because that's going to adjust things in the title chase as well. Swanepoel, good enough, and the top Sherco rider up there running a number 5. For Peltzer, you'd expect to see Peltzer running a little bit higher than this, but again, a rough time trial, and that really has become a bit of an Achilles heels for not just Peltzer, but a few other riders. On a track like this, racing in the middle of winter, when it's Dust Bowl racing, you've got to get a good gate. Peltzer pretty much held station, 4th place, and just outside the top 10 overall, but he's going to lose points in the title numbers. John Buerta, riding out of the Franchise Co. CIT squad on the Kawasaki, was out there to see if he could be the fastest green machine. He wasn't, but he was one of 2 Cowas inside of the top 3. 3rd place for John Buerta. We'll see him now move up into the top 3 for the title chase with 2 rounds to go. Matty Wilson, who has arguably been the dude to beat on the 2 Fiddies this year. He obviously got beaten by Karim at the previous round, but Matty Wilson back on the money, back on the numbers, and learning how to win a championship by bringing home the bacon. Top 3s at every single round. An odd win, but 2nd place is certainly good numbers for him. Waving the flag for the Brother Factory Leader Trek KTM squad. The fastest 250 at most of the races, but not this one, because this one was a return of a king. The 222. Riding out of Pepsi Plastics Kawasaki, the guy that has been instrumental in developing the racing setup on this bike, Taki Bodjodges, in 2019 almost ended his entire racing career, breaking his back at this race. So he had an internal war that he was going to be fighting the whole way through the day, not just with the riders on his gate, but also with the track. He came to Zorgfliet and showed Zorgfliet who was boss. Taki gets his first national championship win in well over 4 seasons to see himself back on top and moving up the ladder. In the OR2s, this is the 350 predominantly gate. This time around, Miguel da Silva, who is normally a Pro-Am racer, slots himself into a number 7. He said it was a super long, super tough day. He said he always runs out of gas on the last lap of the GXCCs. He says this was one level further. He had nothing left in the tank. It was going to be a long sleep in on the Sunday after this one. So Big Mig down in number 7. Jean Nebua, who's also kind of in his first full season of national championship racing. He's looking good in the pro gates of the GXCCs, but he's still trying to find that intensity that you need to run the big numbers out at nationals. Nebua for Rubon Racing down to a number 6. Carl Egger, we've seen this guy run some good pace as well, and he is a bit of a flat out twister of the throttle. He stretches that cable as hard as you like, so this was a kind of good track for the guy that can get the most out of these high revving 350cc machines. By my count, 5th place should give Carl Egger his highest ever national result. Eric Merry, who always likes to go a little bit goon. I like his style. You know, he just goes out and buys whatever bikes. Doesn't get a lot of support out there. I'm hoping someone picks this kid up at some point in his career, because he's been stretching his dad's checkbook the whole way through. And this year, he has really come good. He actually seems to come good at the big nationals, so the tougher the race, the better for Merry. Scotty Haygate, who said he left something on the table out at Freiburg. He was desperate to get the big win going, couldn't get it done, and he came here thinking he had a good setup on his bike. Remember, Freiburg, everyone in the factory KTM squad went for sand tires. Here, they didn't quite know what to do. Looked like it was tire and fueling strategy that hurt Scotty this time around. 3rd place, though, still keeps him well in the top 3 for the title chase in the OR2 class. Kieran Fitzgerald, 2nd place, so he's going to have to wait for his day to walk away with his first national championship win. But the way he rode shows that that day is coming, because he was dicing in the early stages with Brett Swanepoel. Eventually, Swanepoel pulled the pin, and it seemed to be one of those situations where, as the day got longer, Brett Swanepoel got faster and faster. He's the overall leader on championship points. No one above him on the queue, and he cements his place as the number 1 rider on the 350 OR2 gate. Brett Swanepoel very, very nearly closed things down on the overall leader as well. It wasn't to be this time around though, but he did win out in the OR2s. On the OR1s, Gareth Cole, not a bad qualifier. He was well inside of the top 6 of the time trial, but had his own issues on the day, and this number 8 finish is going to see Gareth Cole plummet way down in the championship standings. He's going to have to run top 3s for the rest of the year to try and hang on to one of the steps of the podium. Up the road from him, also a rider starting to show some good form. Got a little bit more Kawasaki support, a little bit more help in his corner, and Brandon Kotzer is starting to come good. He's definitely running top 6s at the GXCCs, but this was a different situation. You have to get your strategy right, and you've got to have that intensity. Kotze with the number 7 ride. Tyron Beverly riding out of the Franchise Co. Factory CIT squad, coming back from a big repair job on his leg. So he's just trying to find his feet at the moment, trying to find that intensity. He's had the best start to a season that he has ever had at the beginning of 2022. This time around though, just feeling things out, getting his fitness back, getting comfortable on the bike again, not wanting to do any more damage to his injuries, but he'll be happy with the number 6 ride. JC Nienober, another one of the riders getting picked up in the mid-season chaos, where a couple of riders doing some early retirement, and all of a sudden Pepsi Plastics needed a factory rider on the 450. It just so happens that rider runs the 450 racing number, and it's JC Nienober, who will be happy with his number 5 ride. Ideal racing conditions for JC, just did not get the qualifier he wanted. Hayden Lowe, after running something like a 10-year-old Yamaha at the beginning of the season out of his own back pocket, Hayden Lowe gets picked up by Big Harry and riding now out of the factory. Sleepover Torque Craft Honda Racing Squad, 4th place is going to keep him in the mix. He is Mr. Consistency right now, and this is his highest ever national showing and great finish on the Honda. For Brad Cox, coming back from some injuries, and obviously he had to sit out the Freiburg round, so he's down on championship points at the moment, but when he is on, he is on. He said he left something on the plate on the time trial, should have gone out a little bit harder, got caught up in that early dust, was dicing hard, elbows up, banging bars with Magic Mike Pentecost, but he'll be relatively happy with the 3rd place. He's going to have to really have an incredible last half of the season though to get the job done and try and nail down an OR1 title. Pentecost walked away with the Big Banger OR1 title. Remember, halfway through last season, about a year ago now to the day, where he got picked up by the Franchise Co squad to get onto the Kawa. Since then, he has been the dude to beat. He's had a, by his own standards, a tough start to the season, but he is always bringing home podium finishes. 2nd place, he'll be super happy with this, but he, on this track, should have walked away with a win, and he knows that. So he'll be training even harder, which is a scary thought for the rest of the competition. I wouldn't say Mike Doherty came out of nowhere. We know this guy can run incredible pace on rally raids. We know he's a multiple UAE motocross champion, and when he was racing motocross on these SA shores, he was a tough dude to beat. But no one called this result at all. He has been coming on strong, getting himself more familiar with the sport of cross-country racing, but on arguably one of the toughest laid out and whooped out tracks, Mike Doherty survived out front to see the Checkers first, taking the overall on the day and his first ever OR1 Big Banger win. When he climbed off the bike, there was very little left in the big dog. We had to wait a long time to have a chat to him in the post-race interviews. He left known on that last lap that Swanepoel and Fitzgerald were coming for him. The scenes after the race were spectacular.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely the longest ride I've ever had. The first few laps I felt good, like pushing, and then I don't know, like Minnie starts to think about it a little bit too much, then yeah, it just made it a lot harder for me at the end. But overall it was good, thanks to the whole team, Husqvarna and everyone. Had a really good time.
Tell me about that last lap.
I can't even tell you. I don't even remember the last lap, to be honest. It was brutal. Like I knew Brett was catching me, but I just kept trying and trying, just to stay on the bike. So, bring it home. Sure. I mean, I missed the first round and then, first couple of rounds. So, I mean, I don't think I'm in the championship, but I'm just here to ride and enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. It just felt like it never ended. When we were halfway through, I knew the day was going to be tough, and the track broke up really early in the race. So I'd say by lap 2, where the track was really, really destroyed. So it was just a matter of trying to ride next to the bumps and find new lines in that. So yeah, just trying to keep a good flow in that. But yeah, day went well. Managed to pass Kieran for the lead for the first in OR2, and then I just put in a little bit of charge to try and catch Doherty, but he made too much time in the early laps. So yeah, the last lap was a little bit of survival, just trying to get home.
I was going to ask you about the last lap. How did the track hold out?
Absolutely destroyed. Like, it feels like 2,000 bikes had ridden here. It was even from like lap 1, the track was really wrecked. So yeah, I guess it's good because it makes you use a lot of technique and stuff. I found myself standing quite a lot through the whoops and that, and through the corners, which definitely made a big difference. But yeah, definitely glad it's over. Yeah, our team did a great job. Fortunately, a rock hit my exhaust and cracked it. So in the midway point at D-Control, they had to put a different exhaust on. So thanks to them, without them, it would have been a bit of a disaster. So yeah, successful day.
That was brought back some good memories. That was a proper off-road. It was a long day in the saddle and the track got really rough. Yeah, another good day for me. I mean, we came home with a good result and a good fight to the end there with Brad Cox. Yeah, happy all in all.
Tell me about the track on the last lap.
Yes, it was extremely rough. Whooped out, crazy rough. I must give a big thanks to Roger Bergstrom. FCR suspension, we put a lot of time in and it definitely pays off. Yeah, happy. Oh, absolutely, my team is amazing. Harry, the Kawasaki squad, TFC Kawasaki, my dad, my wife at home. It's a good team all in all, and we need to start making some moves here, but we go back to the drawing board, keep training and keep going.
Yeah, today was one of those days where you just get to the line. No, it was time trial had a bit of not an issue, but I got caught behind 2 guys' dust and I lost 30 seconds. So, but after the first lap was good. I came through in 5th overall, and I was with the group, and I thought, all right, I can put down now a solid 5 laps. And then 2Ks from the pits, as we left, I lost completely the rear brakes. So I just had to nurse that lap, and then the team did a complete change, and then it was just come back, and just keep fighting. And I'm pretty happy. 3rd in class, 6th overall. It's just school feeder.
Tell me about that last lap and what the track was like.
Yeah, it was really rough, and really rough. And I caught Mike going out the pits here, and him and I were having a good ding dong, and then I laid down in one of the fields, just got a bit carried away. But no, it's really rough. This year the tracks have given us a hard time, but no, it's good, and look forward now to Cape Town. Yeah, for sure, the whole Brother Leadership KDM team, without them we wouldn't be here in the first place, and everyone else, all my sponsors, they backed me. Next round will come back stronger.
Well done, dude.
For sure, I think that's been the longest or hardest cross-country race I've done to date, for sure. Freiburg was really tough, but it was completely different tough. Like, this was dry, slippery, dusty, rocky. It was every worst condition you could think of, but the guys marked the track really well. The GXCC crew, they always do a phenomenal job, and when I go race at GXCC, I always enjoy them. So I knew the track was going to be marked well. It was just what I could do. So tough day, but we're home safe.
Tell me about the track on the last lap.
I was praying on lap 5 that I would come around this corner and see a checkered flag, but no, none of my prayers were answered. That last lap was absolute chaos. When I got here and refilled for lap 5, or for the last lap, I didn't think I was going to finish it. I've been sick for the last 3 weeks and haven't been able to ride and stuff, so I thought, sure, this is going to be a tough race. And Scotty was right behind me, and I knew for the next 53k or 52k's or whatever it was, he was going to be all over me, and I think he actually went down and gave me a bit of breathing room, but he caught me again towards the end, so that last lap was brutal. I don't want to do that again.
Good seat time though, eh?
Yeah, good seat time. Like I said earlier, I'm still learning. My biggest thing right now is trying to learn to ride in the dust. When Brett got past me, I struggled a little bit to race in the dust. But again, this is really my 2nd year doing this, so I've got obviously a lot to learn still, and hopefully just try and be in front and not have any dust. That's the goal. Yeah, thank you. Red Bull KTM, all the guys there, KTM South Africa. Obviously, the cross-country thing, there's a big pit crew that helps you every lap, and today I had my wife and Fraser, my dad, they were all here, and I wouldn't have done it without them. I had to stop every lap to do refill, so the big thanks to everybody. They know who they are, so
Sure, it's been a long day in the office, but happy to walk away. I had a big off in that last lap, but overall really chuffed with how today went. I still got a lot of learning to do and, try and compete with the top guys. But we're learning. with each round, and yeah, slowly but surely we'll make it to the front. Yeah, came in, refueled, and yeah, me and Kieran were really close, so I thought let me try and dig deep, but yeah, ended up digging a little bit too deep and dug myself into the ground, but I guess that's racing and that's why we're here, and we live and learn, and we'll be back at the next one to give it another go. Yeah, definitely for myself, you know, it's my second season racing the off-roads here, so I still got a lot of learning to do and a lot of racecraft to refine on, but overall I'm really chuffed with where I am at the moment. And yeah, I can't thank the team enough for all the effort they put into me and everything they do for me. Without them I wouldn't be here, so yeah, thank you to the whole team.
It was definitely rough out there, but I had a lot of fun. It was good practice, it was good running with the boys. It's always about getting back time and getting time. Just improving every single time I'm out on the bike, and that's definitely what we did today. So yeah, I'm really chuffed with how the day went. Thanks to my team and everyone behind me in this year. So far so good, halfway through or just over halfway through. Let's hit the next ones. Thank you.
So amazing reactions for the riders. Let's go through the numbers on the page. Doherty for the first time at the top of the pile ahead of Pentecost and Cox, with Lowe, Nienaber, Beverly, Kotzer and Cole running out the 8th. Cole is in trouble for the championship at the moment. He's got to bring home some big results from now on. OR2s, once again, Brett Swanepoel very nearly catching up to the back wheel of Doherty for the overall, but still gets the big win in the OR2s ahead of Fitz G, Scotty H, Mary, Egger, Niebuhr and De Silva. And in the OR3s, Taki back on top. What a popular win that was, beating out on Wilson, Buerta, Peltzer and Swanepoel, with Karam down in 6th place. He's in trouble there. Also, same situation for Cole, with Leah Haygate, top lady at the moment, down there in 8th place. For the seniors, Kenny Gilbert goes 4 for 4, taking 4 wins on the bounce, beating out on Kochi and Potgieter, with Swat, Detoy and Fenter rounding things out on that gate. Moving down the queue then into the Masters category, Warwick van Skalkwyk now running the green colours, beating out on Milius Leroux and Kobus Jonk. Wayne Farmer still battling with his injuries, but he did beat out on Greg Nan, and that's a win that he's going to be able to celebrate as he goes forward into his recovery. For the high schools, Kobus Bester hits the top step for the first time. Great to see him arriving in National Championship racing ahead of Wenzel, Ramsayer, Westerdale, Alexander and Karam. So that was it from what will be a very well-remembered and a tough and punishing Zorgfliet round number 4 of the Trademoor Group National Championship Cross Countries. We get ourselves ready for the remaining 2 rounds of the season. We hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll try our very best to bring you the rest of the National Championship Tour. All this Trademoor Group National Cross Country Racing was brought to you by GXCCs in association with VW Mastercars Hatfield. So that was Zorgfliet round number 4 of the National Championship for Cross Countries, and the championships across the board could not be tighter. In the next couple of weeks, we'll review the championships and see how they are looking, and hopefully we'll be able to report and potentially film the rest of the championship season for you guys. What is coming up in the rest of the racing month of July? Well, next week, because we worked super hard on this one, we're going to take a week off. We're just going to relax ourselves a little bit. Ivan's going to make some homemade soup. He's going to put some logs on the fire, chill out and catch his breath, because at the end of the month we go forward back into what we know as normal service. At the end of the month, it's going to be round number 4 of the 424s. Jono has got all kinds of stuff happening behind the scenes there, so we're dead excited to see what he's going to throw at us when we go out to Varkfontein. hopefully not going to be using the motocross track. He says he's not going to because he likes to stay away from the dust, especially at this time of year. So stand on us. We think it's going to be an absolute belter, and based on his first 3 rounds for the 424s, should be a good track and a good showing, and great entries as well. That's going to be one of the stories that we followed the whole way through the season. Great entries coming in for that incredible series. Then just 1 week after that, the longest running cross-country hare scramble off-road tour in the country at the moment, and that is the Farm Jams, now branded as Hare Scrambles, and they've got the hare scramble maths spot on. Everyone is coming back with incredible feedback, and every single time we go farm jamming, we see more and more of the pros coming out, more and more of the support class riders coming out. So we're expecting to see potentially a 350 to 400 rider entry lineup when we go out to that brand new venue. So keep an eye on the press for that. We know that Rowan and Leon are going to be sending us more and more pictures, more and more info as we get closer to the timeline. But stand on us. Hollywood and LiveX are going to keep it pumping. We really hope you enjoyed the show, and we'd love to hear your feedback from the first coverage, full coverage from any of the national championship rounds in 2022. If you guys have got any notes, please send them to us. If you've got something horrible to say, you've got my number. Give me a call. But I think we're very happy with how things are going so far. We will take next week off, like I say, and then we'll get ourselves ready for the end of the month. That's going to be the 424s round number 4. The week after that, it's going to be Farm Jam round number 4, and then we'll start thinking about getting ready for the second half of the season for the GXCCs. I love this part of the year. There's so much more to look forward to. Catch you later.